Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Inside Story podcast, where we take you behind the scenes of building diverse businesses and becoming a successful entrepreneur. I'm your host, Dursun Halimova, a business coach and facilitator on a mission to help build impactful businesses. And today I am beyond excited. Our guest today is Julie Mangen, who is the founder of ShapeUp, which is an outdoor workout for women and moms to be. She's also a physiotherapist and trained instructor for pregnant and postnatal women. At ShapeUp, she and her team of trainers work with women between 25 to 50 years of age all year round, regardless of the weather. Yes, you heard it right. Even if it rains, which is very common in Luxembourg, it is not an excuse for them to go out and work out. They take only a 2 months break during summer, which is nice. One thing that I learned about Luxembourg and generally in Europe, I think people are very protective of their summer break, which is nice. One other thing is, I think, important to mention, especially for women who are about to deliver or they have delivered and if they're considering to work out, is that at ShapeUp, Julie and her team really try to respect women's body, especially after they have delivered, they've given birth. They provide a safe space for women to return to fitness and do, for example, high intensity training in a safe, protective environment. Julie, it's great to have you on the Inside Story podcast. Welcome.
Thank you very much for that very lovely introduction. Thank you very much. Just a quick parenthesis, we will not take 2 months break. We only take 2 weeks break because summer is a fantastic period to work out. So it's only 2 weeks break we take in summer.
Okay, that's my bad. So for some reason, I think, I got excited when you said summer break. I'm like,
holidays, exactly. Everyone does. It's coming.
All right. Okay. To start off, I will read several unfinished sentences and I would ask you to finish them for us, please.
Okay.
Being an entrepreneur means
Never stopping to work.
building an impactful business requires
A lot of energy and a lot of thoughts. Reflections.
failure is
Not nice, but necessary to grow.
success is a result of
Believing in yourself and hard work.
And the last one, being fulfilled in life means
Looking in the mirror in the evening and being happy of what you did in that day, I think.
That's so powerful. Thank you for sharing that. If you could briefly tell us about you as well as your business. What is ShapeUp? What do you do?
Yeah, so like you said perfectly in the introduction, I am from Luxembourg. I'm 38 years old. We lived abroad quite a lot, but we returned to Luxembourg now 3 years ago. I am a physiotherapist. I have 3 young boys who keep me, who take all my patients. And I also have my business called ShapeUp, with which we teach outdoor workouts for women. So women in general, as well as during pregnancy and after giving birth. I am a very active person and I love being outside. I need to be outside to keep my mind very balanced, let's say. Yeah.
From what I know, you have started this initiative actually in Japan when you were living abroad as an expat. Around 2018, 2021, you started outdoor workouts for moms there. Tell us a little bit about how did you go about starting it in a country that's not your own, where you don't speak the language, and there's a lot to get used to, get accustomed to. How did you establish your business? And you ended up selling the business as well before you moved back to Luxembourg.
Yeah, totally. In Japan, in Tokyo, it was a franchise called Mom in Balance that another fellow mom had started, but she needed to relocate very quickly after opening it, so she didn't have the time to really establish it. And then a friend of mine and us, we decided together to take it over. So the basic business was already set up, but then we started with very little members and like one coach, and then from there we tried it up. But it was very complicated in the beginning because, like you mentioned, you don't speak the language, you don't understand the bureaucracy, you don't understand the system, you don't know how to go to the bank, open a bank account. handle bank business. It's very special. If you lived in Japan, everyone will understand me. It's banking in Japan is very different. So for all of this, we had a consultant. We had a lady who helped us setting up the business, handle everything tax-wise, invoices, and translating everything that's needed. So luckily there we had help. But it was also very special because the members we had, most of them were expats. So there were a few Japanese joining, but most of them were also expats. So the community was very big. Everyone was abroad from home. Everyone was looking for sports where they could speak the language and understand the language. And of course, because we are so targeted to women, there were a lot of young moms there. Like a lot of women, when they go abroad, they have maybe the age to have kids, and then it's a very perfect way to get community together. So this was super nice in Japan. You really notice like it's a place for people to meet new other people and make friends. That was very special in Japan. Yeah.
And how did you go about selling? Was it easy to just sell the business?
Yes, so selling, my partner had moved abroad a year before, and then I was pregnant with my third kid, so I had really a lot of reflections, shall I continue or not? But then because we had great community, great members, great coaches, I decided to go along with it. And then when we came to our end in Japan, luckily there was another German woman moving to Japan from the fitness industry, and she was very interested in doing the same thing. So we had talks, and then she just took over. So I sold her the company. And the company is still alive in Tokyo. It's thriving to another level. It's very nice to see. So yeah, I was lucky enough to find someone interested in continuing it. And the members continued, the trainers continued. That was really nice to see it not just stopping with us moving abroad.
You put so much of your love, your passion, your energy into building something, even if it was initially started by someone else, right? I think it's always nice to see that your baby project continues and grows.
Exactly. It was more important to me that it was continuing than actually to sell it at a big amount of money, let's say. I really just wanted to go continue living. Yeah.
As you mentioned, you are originally from Luxembourg, and then you moved back from Japan to Luxembourg. And from what you've told me, it was even more challenging to set up the business in Luxembourg, although you're from here, you speak the languages, right? So how was it setting up your business now here in Luxembourg, which is your home country? One of the reasons you said it was challenging because you wanted to build something that lasts. Because obviously here you had your family, friends, and maybe broader, wider network, and you wanted to really make sure you succeed. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, that is totally true. In Japan, when we did it, it was more of an experience. Like we both knew, like our time was going to come to an end here. So we really enjoyed that period of just without pressure, playing freely around, trying new things. There was like not that pressure. And when we moved back, I knew I wanted the business to last forever and to just be durable. There is a lot of pressure if you come back to your home country. Like, you know everyone. Luxembourg is very small, so people talk a lot. You're being judged very easily because sometimes people are also a little bit short-minded maybe. And then this is not going to last. What is she going to want to do with it here? So you need to kind of like ignore all those minds that everyone has an opinion everyone has about you, and you really need to follow your intuition and be like, okay, I believe in this project, this is my passion, it is gonna work. We will make it work. So that on one hand I find it very hard because you have to live up to all these judgments. And then on the other hand, I have to say, although it is Luxembourg and I do speak the languages and I know a little bit about the system, I come from a health background. And a health background, I love being with people, I love helping people, but I have no idea about the bureaucracy of building a company, which kind of company to choose, which is the best version for me, the taxes, the VAT, the invoices, everything is still something I really dislike about having a business. And I found that very challenging. So I needed to find people here that I can trust. I needed to surround myself with people who really know what it means having a company, what it means to set up a business, the paper, the money, the finances, and get a proper help. Yes. So that was one of the big challenges for me coming back here. And then the second challenge, so this is just purely business-wise, but it was a personal challenge because I knew we were coming back. I really wanted to get back to my job as a physio. But how could I handle the physio, the mom, the house, everything together? That was a big question my husband and I discussed a lot before setting up the business. Would it actually be possible to spend all the time I need for the business.
How did you manage that? Because setting up a business requires a lot of new skills and new expertise, right? So as a fitness trainer, you might have the knowledge of that particular field. What I see is a lot of solopreneurs, especially, right? They have a skill or expertise that they want to commercialize, they want to build business around it, but then they lack the business expertise, which also takes a lot of time and energy to kind of learn. And then on top of that, as you said, you have 3 boys who I bet are very demanding.
Yeah.
You wanted to go back to physiotherapy as your profession. How did you, or how do you, right? Still, how do you balance all of these needs? And I'm assuming it's very demanding. Each area is demanding on its own.
Yes, exactly. So I was lucky from Japan to have quite a good idea of the time needed for the business to run. So I could really time-wise organize myself, like have a clear idea. I would need approximately how many hours per week, what would it demand from me? And then we sat down together with my husband and looked at the weekly schedule. And we were like, okay, I work part-time in the practice. I do have the kids, he's traveling abroad on a weekly basis. So I would basically need to manage the house by myself with a little help from my parents. For me, it's really just the key is organization, planning ahead. You have to have a clear idea ahead, like how many hours do you need for what. But then on the physiotherapist side, I have fixed date, fixed schedule. But as an entrepreneur, I face the same issues every entrepreneur has. You can always work. It never stops. Your mind never stops spinning. You really have to be clear about the roles. Like I try to be, as a physio, of course, and I'm with my patients. But when I'm with the kids, I really try to focus on this role, on being with the kids. I am present with them. I try not to think about the business and only do what's really urgently demanded in that moment. So I can focus on them, have quality time with them. But then on the same side, when I have the time for the business, I try to really be on the business, not be distracted by anything private, personal, kids, house, whatever. I really am there, sit 3 hours in front of the PC and just work for the business. So I try to really set clearly my roles, but of course there are things in life that you cannot control. Then there come kids and business and everything, and you just have to go with the flow, which I find particularly hard, to be honest, to manage the control and not control.
Yeah, I mean, I almost wanted to say I want to kind of learn from you. You should help me kind of compartmentalize, right? Which is, I think, very difficult. I don't have kids yet, but still, there are so many other things that come up, and at times it is very difficult then just to focus on one thing, as you say, kind of be mindful and focus on a given task at hand.
Yeah, and I think it's the unexpected things that come up, business-wise and family-wise, the things you cannot plan. And here you really have to be very spontaneous and juggling all the balls and try to find whatever is most needed in that moment.
Indeed. I think entrepreneurship is not for people who like certainty and control.
Yes.
Because it's very difficult, right? As I said, things happen and you don't know what the new day will bring.
Exactly.
With ShapeUp, you deliver 3 workouts a week, and you also have 4 locations, 2 in Luxembourg City and 2 locations that are outside. By now, you already also work with 5 external coaches. What made you decide to have extra or additional locations and hire external coaches? And with that, what were some of the concerns when deciding to work with external trainers?
At one point, if you want a business to grow and survive and thrive, you cannot do it all by yourself. You need to get help. There was a big demand from the members to get more workouts, more location. I kept getting requests, can you open a workout here? Can you open a workout there? And of course, I have only a certain amount of hours there available, be it for really teaching the workouts, but also be to mentally think about the business, do administrative work. So I needed to get help at one point. It's obvious. Otherwise, if the business just relies on one person, it will never survive and it will never last. I think you need to have a team to make it sustainable. But the hard part is to find someone who actually relies. And the workouts, for me, it's very important that the workouts are small. That is very personal. The coaches know the members and that the members know that they are well being taken care of. The coaches need to know, okay, is this someone who has recently pregnant, or who has recently given birth or has given birth a long time ago? Do they have no kids at all? Do they have injuries? Are they in a moment where they need to be maybe take it easy a little bit? So it's important to have a personal relationship from the coach and the members. It was for me important to find someone who understands the philosophy of the company, so that they really share the message. Because if the coach is not what the members expect, they will not come back. So of course, then there will be no members. So I really need to have a coach who has a good image of the company. And then it's a business I do not offer too many hours per week. So the coaches do this on the side next to other jobs, maybe next to other coachings, maybe next to other sport issues. So it's hard to find someone who has the time and the energy. My requests were very high, let's say, but I'm lucky that I found coaches who meet all these requests.
Tell us more a little bit about that part, because hiring is always difficult, especially when you have your own business. You are so committed, you're dedicated. It's your business, right? And when you hire externals, be it like a full-time employee or contractual workers, like in your case, it's challenging, because I think there's always a concern that they won't do or deliver as much as you would, because it's your business. How do you incentivize your coaches to do their best?
That's a good question. It's a good question. I like to imply them as much as possible to the business. So we have team meetings. I try to get their ideas. I try to have their opinions about things. I try to consider the things. I try to be very understanding when it comes to personal issues. They can take holidays whenever they want to take holidays. So I'm not trying to be really open, because I know it's a side job for them. And they are very rare to find good coaches. So you need to really have that good relationship with them. That's, I think, what I try to focus most on. But otherwise, you have to go with your gut. I had so many interviews with different coaches, and it just didn't feel like it. And like you said, it's your business, it's your baby, you're sharing custody with it. So you really need to find someone who matches your expectations.
Indeed, that's pretty challenging. At the same time, though, what I have discovered talking to a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs, people also get really drawn back, or they are hesitant to start business because of this managing business, running a business, even hiring, and then kind of managing other people. And there are so many entrepreneurs who decide to have their businesses on purpose very small, because they want to continue practicing their craft versus managing people and then coordinating. I think it's very difficult to find a balance.
It is, but I think it's very good if you start small. Like what helped me is the contract basis. So they just get paid for what they do. And that's the same. I ask for help for many different issues. I have someone who helped me with the content on social media. So it really works just on project. And I think if you have someone just helping you for a small project and you pay them just for that project, it takes away a little bit the pressure of hiring someone. You know, it's not like you're in an obligation to pay a big salary every month. You can just pay when you need to help for the work that person did. I think it could be a first step. Hire someone on a contract basis. So you just really pay them for the specific work that you ask for them. It's could be a first step into hiring or getting help.
Yeah. At least to, as you say, outsource the things that you can outsource. Indeed.
Whatever you can. Because still, if you outsource at the end of the work, you still need to control it yourself. You know, the person sends it back and it'd be like, okay, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? So at the end, it's still you taking the decision. So you're still the one who is in charge. But the whole basis work has been done by someone else who actually knows what they do. It's because as an entrepreneur, you cannot know everything, right? There are things you know and things you don't. So maybe the things you don't know, give it to someone who knows about it, who's an expert in that field. Yeah.
Exactly. And that, I think, requires a lot of self-knowledge, self-reflection, awareness, knowing what you are good at, what you can do, what you like doing versus what you might not be so good at, or you just don't like doing a specific task or activity. And if you have the resources to outsource it. Yeah. So you can
sometimes it's also a question of money. Like you said, you have the resources, but on the other hand, your time is very precious and worth it too. And sometimes you would need way more hours to get into that knowledge than just paying someone a certain amount who does it in their own time. And you just, at the end of the day, have to approve it or maybe correct it a little bit. So
indeed. And that's a very difficult decision from what I see and hear with aspiring as well as early stage business owners, is that they want to do everything on their own, And I can see where that kind of thought is coming from, right? Maybe they have a very small budget. Maybe they are excited. They want to learn every aspect of running a business. But then, yeah, the time, that's the
Yeah,
most valuable thing that any person has, something you can't
exactly.
buy,
Yeah,
unfortunately, with
exactly. Yeah,
money.
exactly.
Indeed, it requires us to be, I think, a bit more pragmatic about
Let go
how we
sometimes.
use these.
Mhm.
And continuing this conversation, fitness industry is very competitive. There are many fitness trainers, and it is very, in a way, kind of getting easier for people to become fitness trainers. At the same time, there is increasing awareness among people in general about the importance of, training and movement and taking care of your physical body and so on. So tell us, how do you manage to survive and thrive in a competitive industry like fitness?
Yeah, it's very competitive, but you have to find your own niche. So with me, I am lucky that my niche is women and pregnant and postnatal women. So my niche is getting pretty small, I have to say. And in the fitness industry, like you said, it's not easy to become a trainer, but licenses, there are certain degrees of licenses. But the basic license of fitness trainer can be achieved pretty easily, let's say. But a lot of people are scared of the pregnant and postnatal part. So that's someone, when I have interviews with coaches, they are all very concerned. They have a lot of concerns about that part. Like, how do I teach pregnant women? How do I teach postnatal women? So for me, the good part that I have with my business is that it's a niche. There are not many competitions in that area. But on the other side, I also don't like to think of the others as competition. I mean, of course, at the end of the day, you just have to be better than the other if you want to survive. But on the other hand, there are so many people out there. Like, there's so many fish in the sea. There's plenty for everyone. Personal trainer, fitness trainer, it's a very personal connection that you have with the members. And especially with ShapeUp, we like small groups. I don't want more than 15, maximum 20 members in one class, but usually classes are 10 to 15 because I need this personal connection. And I want members to really feel in a safe place with us. And this personal connection, you cannot force. You cannot force it. So people have to come, they have to try, they have to see, do I like the trainer or do I not like her? Like, I do see this with the team that I have. Some members tell me, oh, I prefer working out with her. I prefer working out with her. She's more my style. She's more my style. It's very personal. So at the end of the day, there are so many trainers out there. You might find just the one for you at another place, or you might find it at our place. I think you cannot control. This is something you cannot control. You just have to let go. People will like it or they will not like it. You have to do the best you can. You have to really give it your most. But at the end of the day, people will decide.
Indeed. And it's very difficult to not to take things personally,
Yes.
because your business, especially when your business is you,
Yes.
you selling your
Exactly.
services, right? And
Exactly. Yeah.
people, when they say
Yeah.
no to you, not to your product, which you've,
Yeah.
designed, developed, right? And for me, in my coaching career, especially in the beginning, I must admit, it was challenging. But I also had instances when I would get clients who said, I worked with other coach in the past, but I wasn't happy or I didn't like. And then they decided to switch to me, and then
Yeah.
something somehow worked out. And that really made me realize, and I like this quote, I try to, always remind myself, you might be the juiciest peach in the world, but still there will be people who hate peaches. So
Okay, nice one. I like it.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I love peach, and I'm pretty sure
yeah.
there are people who hate it. And as you
Yes.
say, there's nothing you can do about it. And I think it is also a good thing, right? In a way. And that's what I start emphasizing in my free consultation calls before someone signs up for my coaching. We spend half an hour to an hour just to get to know each other, understand the client's needs. But one of the major goals is also to check the chemistry. Do we
Yeah.
feel
Is it a
comfortable on
match?
both sides? Exactly, on both sides, right? Because if I don't feel comfortable working with the client, then I
There
shouldn't
will be no
also force
results. Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, I think so
indeed.
too. It's really, really personal, that connection. And also, I like to talk like to the other businesses that are next to me that could be competition. Like, I like to talk to them. Like, we go for coffee, we write, we check each other, because also it's a small world, to be honest, and as a business owner, you're often by yourself. So it's good to talk to other people who are in the exact same business mode as you are, like without the workouts. What are your challenges? How do you get to deal with the weather? How do you motivate your people? Do you go inside? Do you stay outside? It's super nice to just have this feedback, to just be there and be like, what are your issues? How do you handle them? Also get advice. I had also another one who does not work with pregnant women, who reaching out to me and be like, I have a pregnant woman. What do I do with her? What can I not do with her? So it's very nice. I think it's best just to talk to each other. We're all humans, and try to get along with each other.
Yeah, I mean, I also really like the idea of collaboration over competition.
Yes, totally.
In the past, I've also, for example, I design and deliver workshops. And in that field, especially, I have collaborated with a few people who initially I wasn't sure, as you say, kind of you look at other people who are doing similar things as you are as a competitor, kind of naturally. But then I try to kind of brush off that feeling and think in terms of, can we actually collaborate? And in my case, for example, in one of the instances, I ended up collaborating with two other people who are also trainers, and we co-designed and delivered a bigger training for a company, which on my own, I would not be able to do, and they wouldn't be able to do on their own either, because I think in this way, you bring different skills and expertise. And maybe it is also, in a way, an alternative for having a team. If you don't have a team, in order not to feel lonely and to have this cooperative, collaborative environment, I think one way is to collaborate with people who might be your competitors, but together you can do bigger things and work on bigger projects.
I think so too. Yeah, I get different forces together.
Indeed. And maybe if you don't mind sharing a bit about so when you just came back to Luxembourg and you set up the business, how did you go about creating visibility around you, your expertise, your business? Nobody knew who you are, although you might have friends and family, right? But as a ShapeUp, how did you go about creating visibility and attracting first few paying customers?
Yeah, well, it's a very big discussion we always have. How to get yourself out there, how to get new members, how to show your face. So a friend of mine, she said, well, actually show your face and your name wherever you can, because people need to see it, read it. And at one point they will click on you, they will click on your link, and they will have a look like, what is this ShapeUp? So of course the social media presence has to be there constantly. You have to show your name wherever you can, but that also, knowing of all these algorithms, at one point you cannot control it, it's out of your hands. And I try to be present in all of this, but the most important for us in my business, at least, is word to mouth. So you need to talk to people. You need to actually go to people, tell them about your business, tell them what you do, hand them a flyer, tell them the trial is for free, just come, check, no strings attached. So you really need to put yourself a lot out there, just talk to people. And it's not always easy. And a lot of entrepreneurs probably have the same issue. You don't want to sell yourself constantly, but you need to. This is the only way to get the ball rolling. Hopefully at one point the ball will roll by itself. People will talk by itself. But at the beginning, you're no one. No one knows your name. No one knows what you do. So you need to get out there, talk about yourself, go up to people. You will feel straight away if they're not interested, then don't bother. I'm like, okay, whatever. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. But you need to get yourself out there. So I did a lot of word to mouth, went to people, went at the playground, went to moms. I still do this, hand out flyers, try to reach out to companies that are in your field. Like I reached out to midwives. I tried to talk to them. I had few members coming from midwives, actually. So it's trying to collaborate with people in my own field. But this takes a lot of time, to be honest, and there's still a lot of people I need to get out and get in contact. So if you feel like you're one of them, please get in touch with me. But I feel it takes a lot of time. You need to see, filter who do you want to contact, who would be bringing you the most members.
Yeah, and you need to be patient, because it takes so much of your time. And I think for many, especially solopreneurs, but I think this is true for any business owner, it takes so much time for you to build a momentum, build a visibility, trust around you and your brand and your business. In the meantime, you have to keep doing that, right? You don't see any results, maybe no clients are coming, but you have to continue that work of creating visibility and awareness about your business. So I think that part is difficult.
I need to put the seeds and the growth will come later. But also, like you mentioned before, sometimes there is a negative feedback and you take it personal, which you shouldn't. But then you take that personal. And maybe it's a moment where everything else is not working well. And then you like feel like you're going down. And this is don't, keep thinking about the positive feedback that you get. And then it's very helpful if there's one member, maybe texting me that day, oh, thank you for the fantastic workout. Then my mood is up again and it's working again. But it's like you said, you get that feedback, you have to keep going. Even if there is a moment where you don't feel the results, don't be quiet. The results will always come, but it takes time. You might put a lot of work now into your visibility and you feel like you don't get the results from it, but they will come. It will come. It will come later on, but it's just sometimes you want straight away results and you don't get them. So be patient. And
Yeah. And in this day and age, there's a lot of temptation and there is a lot of easy dopamine release, right? Just sitting on social media can give you so much of dopamine that, you want easy gratification. You don't want to postpone. And this is sad. I mean, I see in myself that, if I could have pleasure right now, I don't want to postpone it till tomorrow, right? And then if you don't see the pleasure or the positive, it's also very difficult then to motivate yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's very important that for small businesses, the people who are around us and also the clients or the members for me, they can help us with very small things. And sometimes there's like a lot of these posts, like how can you help a friend with their own business, small business, just small reactions on the social media, thumbs up, write a small comment, share the post, it can help you create visibility. And if you have your surroundings helping you a little bit with these easy, small gestures, it can help a small business like mine a lot. If you just talk about it and click on it and like it and share it, it's small clicks that can help us too.
I couldn't agree with that more. Now that I'm doing the podcast, for example, whenever I see some of my friends or within the network, people I know or even I don't know, they come across the podcast and they just hit like or they comment that they comment. I'm like, wow, this person has taken his time or their time to listen and then to actually comment and say something about the episode. This means a lot. FYI to the listeners.
Yes, please like it. Yeah, and this is something I think a power that our members or surroundings sometimes underestimate is like this power of small support and also what it gives to you as an owner. Like I said before, if your energy is maybe low, just this little like button or someone can help you boost your energy again back on track.
Yeah. And I have many questions to ask, but we are reaching the end. But there is one question I have to ask you, a question that was left for you by my previous guest. They left this question without knowing who they're leaving it for. Here comes the question. Has being an entrepreneur changed in any way your vision of yourself, the world you live in, and with whom? If yes, how?
Okay, that's a nice one. Has it changed the vision on myself, the world I live in, and whom?
And with whom? Close people that are around you.
Definitely has changed me. It definitely has changed my vision on everything, I think, because you realize more of like who you are. I discovered parts of me that I didn't know I have. I have never been an entrepreneur before. And I realized suddenly, I like it. I like it being, doing all these things around and developing new things. And then I noticed that I'm actually inspiring other people and that other people, get inspiration by me, which I thought, wow, is that possible? Can I actually help someone to feel better about themselves? So it did teach me a lot about my own attitude towards myself and towards the world also, like trying to be more positive, because you might be the person that inspires that one person on that day, like smile to a person, you might be, that might be the person who needs to smile on that day. So you can have actually big influence on the world without knowing. And I think I realized that when I became an entrepreneur. But also the people I surround myself with, yes, I feel that I changed a little bit the people I try to be with. But friends are friends. Okay, they don't fit into that branch. They will stay with me hopefully forever, whatever stupid things I might do. But professional-wise, I noticed that I try to tend a little bit more towards these people because I feel they understand a little bit what it's about being an entrepreneur. Being an entrepreneur is a special field. It's not like, of course, it's already a special feat. I'm an independent salariist as a physiotherapist. This is also very special. Not everyone understands that there are people who don't have paid holiday. But also being an entrepreneur, you're responsible for everything. And I try to get myself a little bit with people who are in the same field so that I can get inspiration by them and see like, how do they survive? How do they manage? Yes, so it definitely has changed me, and it definitely has changed my attitude towards the world and my surroundings. Yeah.
That's so important. Not only who, like your attitude, your perspective on life,
Exactly.
how you look at things, the challenges and difficulties, but also the people that you surround yourself with. There was a moment in my life when I had to also have a critical view of who I was spending most of my time with. You know, there is this saying, you are the average of 5 people you most hang out with. And I think
Right.
there's a lot of truth to that, because people that we spend most of our time with, they influence us consciously, subconsciously. They influence our way of thinking. For me, for example, there was a moment when I was spending a lot of time with, there were very few people, couple people who were a bit pessimistic, and they had negative outlook at everything. Even, you know, going for a walk, going have a coffee or food, they would always spot the negative things. And they would dramatize it so much that I realized I was picking that up slowly. And I started kind of complaining a bit, which I really don't like. I mean, I do complain. I'm a human being, right? And I think we always want more things that we don't have. But when I noticed that this was subconscious, and then I had to really make important decisions in terms of, do I just cut off these people? If I don't cut off these people, because sometimes you can't or you don't want to cut off certain people, then maybe minimize the engagement, interaction, or it's so
Yes, totally.
important who you are.
Yeah, I think also in your surroundings, not everyone understands what it means being an entrepreneur. And I still have people around me who think like, oh, she's just teaching classes to women, you know, she's just having like these mommy classes. And I don't understand that it's actually time, a lot of time that I put in. It's a business. Like I really have my own business with it. And then they don't understand. They like ridiculize it a little bit. So I try to not surround myself with these people because they just don't understand what it is. I like the saying of like, you're the average of 5 people. Yes, make sure to surround yourself with people who support you, who are like-minded, and who inspire you. I think you always need like these 3-4 people around you who push you a little bit, who inspire you to be a better version of yourself. Make sure to have these people around you more than the ones that they complain. Definitely. Yeah.
That's such a nice way to end today's conversation, Julie. Thank you so much for
Thank you
being
very
on the Inside Story podcast and sharing your story. You are indeed full of positive energy, warmness. When I first met you in person, I was like, wow, okay, she is the person I want to have on the podcast. And
Thank
not
you very
only on the
much.
podcast, but you know, you would be among the 5 people I think I want to surround myself
Thank
with.
you very much, Listen. Thank you.
Your energy is so contagious, and you are very inspirational, and I see why your clients feel motivated and inspired after a session with you. So thank you so much also for telling us the importance of collaboration. It's not only about competition when we build businesses. There are a ton of ways we can support each other, even if we are after same clients. I think we are more powerful when we work together.
Totally.
Thank you so much, Julie. I appreciate you being on the podcast.
Thank you.